Hello again, learners. In this short video, I want to show you how to complete the square, an invaluable way to solve a quadratic. Step number one. Let's just do a problem and I'll show you where it's coming from. I have an equation, x squared plus 5x minus 9 equals 0. Make sure your equation is set to 0. That should be like a pre-step. Pre-step, set it equal to 0. Step number one. Divide everything by a. That way, if you have a leading coefficient other than 1, you're going to force everything to have a leading coefficient of 1. In this case, ax squared plus bx plus c, a is 1. I divide everything by 1. Nothing changes. Step 1 complete. Boom! Step 2, move c to the other side of the equal sign. In this case, I have to add 9 to both sides. Awesome. So now I have x squared plus 5x equals 9. Step 3, I'm going to add b over 2 squared to both sides. The b is the number, the coefficient in front of the single x term. So in that case, it's going to be 5 over 2 squared. I just threw my equation out of balance, so I need to add that to the other side as well. Beautiful. Step 4. What I'm going to do is I've just created a perfect square trinomial. So basically, I'm going to factor this. Wait a minute, I just made a perfect factor. So I'm going to go like this. X plus 5 over 2 squared. And you'll see the reason for that is if I square this out, I'll end up back here with the original equation as well. If I multiply x by 5 over 2, I get 5 over 2x. I get 2 of those. That would be 10 over 2x, or also known as 5x. Sweet. On this side, let me go ahead and simplify this right now. This would be 25 over 4. I'm going to make 9 into fourths as well, like this. So now I can actually combine these together, and I get 36 plus 25 is 61 fourths. A beautiful fraction, like 61 fourths. Okay, I have made it through step 4. Step 5, take the square root of both sides. So now I have x plus 5 over 2 equals the square root of 61 over 4. Now, you'll notice here in my little sidebar, I say plus or minus. You could actually end up with a negative. If b was negative here, you'd end up with like negative 5 over 2. So you'd be adding, that would be a negative. You'd end up with adding 5 1/2 on both sides. In this case, I've got 61 over 4. Now I'm going to subtract 5 halves from both sides. If I can simplify my radical, I'll do that. So let's say I've got negative 5 over 2 plus or minus, because it's a square root. It could be positive or negative. I can't simplify 61. I can take the square root of 4. That is 2. Oh man, I have a common denominator. Therefore, I'm just going to zoom down a little bit more. X equals negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 61 over 2. Yeah, that's a big hairy answer, but that's really how you do it. I'm already 4 minutes into a video. Let's try another problem where the leading coefficient a is not 1. So step 1 here, I've got 2x squared minus 3x plus 1. I'm going to do the same steps. I'm going to, make sure it's set equal to 0. Pre-step. Step 1, divide everything by a. So I go boom, 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 boom. Now I can rewrite my equation. I get x squared minus 3 halves x plus a half. Step 2, get c to the other side. Still 0. So in this case, I'm going to subtract a half from both sides. Hopefully I don't run out of room here. All right, let me just move it like this. we'll just rewrite it. I think you see where the half is going. Step 3, add b over 2 squared to both sides. Now notice here it's negative. So I've got plus negative 3 over 2 divided by 2 is really 3 over 4. That's where I'm getting this 3 over 4. So 3 over 4 squared. And I'm going to have to add that to both sides. Negative 3 over 4 squared. Let's I'll clean this up on the next step here. So now I'm going to factor this out. Again, leaving it in parentheses makes it really easy to see what the factor is. It would be x minus 3 over 4 squared. And now let's clean up this side. So 3 over 4 squared, or negative 3 over 4 squared, would be 9 over 16. So I've got 9 over 16. I'm going to add that to a negative 1/2. I need to have a common denominator. Back to adding fractions. So that's going to be 8. Negative 8 over 16. When I combine these, I'm going to get a positive 1/16. Okay? Now what I need to do is take the square root of both sides. So now I've got x minus 3 over 4. Right, took the square root of that and take the square root of this one. The square root of 1/16 is just 1. That's right. I just wanted to make sure I'm making it clear. The square root of 1/16 is a positive or negative 1/4. Okay, now to finally solve the problem, I'm going to add 3/4 to both sides. So I have x equals 3/4 plus a quarter or minus a quarter. And of course, that would be 3/4 plus a quarter would be x equals positive 1. 3/4 minus a quarter would be 1/2. And you could always go back and check that work as well. Hope all this scroll wasn't too crazy. Like the video if you like it. If it's not helpful, post a comment so I can try to make a better one.